Hey, boys and girls, and everybody else. Welcome to the Shead Show. I'm your host, Ryan. This is my co host, Ian Sherman, and we are back for another Friday to hang out with y'all. So,
Welcome to
Ian,
my therapy session.
it's all of our therapy session. Oh, God. Right off the bat, bro? Right off the
Right off
bat.
the bat.
Jesus. No, hang on a second. Hang on a second. So, breaking news Donald Trump has been ordered to pay E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million net defamation suit.
Bro.
I don't know about you, but I still can't believe this does that.
I'm telling you right now, that's 83 fucking million reasons to shut the fuck up. Why does he not
Bro.
know to just shut the fuck up?
Dude, I'm telling you. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, bro. But so he's having to pay this because he was found to have sexually assaulted her. And then after that case, he still ran his fucking mouth. And then she turned around and sued him for defamation. And
A
this is
year
what
ago,
happened.
she was awarded 5 million for a rape case. Okay, the judge said, "Look, you raped her.
Yeah.
This isn't about anything other than you paying her for what you did to this person. Plain and
Right.
simple."
Yep.
And then, literally, the moment he walked out of the courtroom, he started talking mad shit about her. And she turned around and said, "And now I'm suing you for defamation." Now, fast forward, 83 fucking million. Now, I don't know if you know math.
I mean, that's a whole
I'm
lot of
gonna say
zeros.
83 is a lot bigger than 5, and that math ain't mathing for Trump right now.
Now, I may not be a math genius, but that's a whole lot of zeros.
That's a whole lot of damn sum, boy. You better be
And
careful.
now what was really funny to me, what made my Friday before this, I didn't realize they were gonna come out with this today. So all I thought was going to be the big news this Friday was going to be him storming out of the courtroom during closing arguments.
And didn't I text you? I was like, man, fuck this dude. I was like, look, this is him trying to learn from what Hunter did couple weeks ago. I was like,
Storming
he
out.
saw the press. He was like, okay, I'm gonna steal the show and I'm gonna go ahead and do Trump. And it's like, I think the jury was like, you know what? Go ahead, sprinkle all that shit
Yeah.
on him. They hit him with that 83.
And somebody on there said, I bet him storming out of the courtroom this morning cost him about $5 million.
Add a couple more. Add a couple more
Yeah,
zeros to that.
let's put a few more
Just
in
wrap
there.
that number up. Yeah, I honestly think his stunt backfired, and I'm sure. I actually want to know what's happening in the room with his lawyers, with his accountant, and honestly with his children, because they're sitting there like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah. Dad,
Now they don't know. They
can
don't
we
know yet. They
see
have
the
to pay
will
it.
again? Can we just read over that one more time?
It's gonna be insane, man.
But before we talk about the actual money, because you sent me the breakdowns, so
Yes.
I just want to read this real quick. The jurors ultimately awarded Carroll a total of 18.3 million in compensatory damages, 11 million of which was for repairing her reputation. The panel awarded her 65 million in punitive damages after finding that Trump acted maliciously. So, and let me see this. So it's not clear whether he's going to have to pay the 83 million. And of course, he's going to appeal it if he can find any lawyers that'll actually take his case because he doesn't pay his bills. But
Man, it's taking L's.
Bro. But Ian sent me some information on his latest financial disclosure that I think is a little relative at the moment. And it says in his most recent financial disclosure from last year, Trump reported having at least 25.5 million in treasury bills, more than 8 million in treasury notes, more than 4 million in cash, millions more in municipal and corporate bonds, millions in stocks, and more than 2 million in money market accounts. So guess what? There's plenty of assets and money for E. Jean Carroll to go after there.
Oh, my man got to sell property.
Yeah.
It's about to happen. It's about to happen. Not only this case, but then also
because that's in addition to the 5 mil, right?
What's
so
that?
This 83.3 is in addition to the 5 mil from last year, right?
That the 5 million is sitting in the court separately, still on hold because of him trying to appeal it.
Got you. Okay.
And so now this brand spanking new today is about to just be an uppercut. I'm sorry. We're
That's a
gonna have,
rough
if this
uppercut.
motherfucker wins in 2024, we're gonna have the brokest fucking president that America's ever. Like, this dude will literally
Forget broke.
be
We're gonna have
hawking off secrets because he just needs a
yes,
dollar. Okay.
dude. Thank you for saying it because I just want to say real quick why we're talking about this in this case. I just want to remind everybody I've had a secret security clearance since basically being an adult. Um, and I've been through 3 background checks that are required for these. And when I tell you that they know everything about you, I mean, they know everything. Like, I had a traffic stop when I was 19 in a Corvette, my girlfriend's Corvette, and it went to court. My lawyer at the time got it thrown out. I should say my dad's lawyer, and it wasn't on my record. So when I'm in boot camp, they're doing my thing because I had some debt and some other stuff. They take me in this room that's like a one of those interview rooms that you see on TV, no bullshit, and start asking me questions like, "Well,
Are you
why do
talking
you
about
have?"
like an interrogation room?
Bro, I'm telling you, it was one of those like metal type tables in a little small room, and it was a woman across from me. It was this black lady. I mean, she was nice for what she was doing, I guess.
Now you work for the MBI.
No, she was just like,
Men in
your
black.
job requires a security clearance, and in your background check, we found these things that we need answers for. And they asked me, I'll never forget. They said, "Do you know your dad owes $90,000 in credit card debt?" And I went, "No." I go, "My dad and I don't talk about that shit." I'm like, I have no idea what my dad owes. Do you know that he has a second mortgage on? No, I didn't fucking know that. Like, I had no idea.
Mm.
So it's just kind of like they want to know everybody in your family, like direct family too,
Right,
your mother,
right.
your brothers, your sisters. Like
How
they
could you
knew
be compromised?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just about me. It's also about can they get to my dad? Can they get to
Right.
my sister? Can they get them to flip me?
So
And
you have 3 more clearances more than the president's stepson,
well,
Jared
same
Kushner.
same clearance, but it had to be updated like every 5 years.
But I'm saying you have 3 more than Jared Kushner.
Yes. Well, technically he had one, but I got mine the right way. Like I actually went through the process.
He didn't have one.
They did. They gave him one.
He did not.
No, he didn't pass twice, and
He
then
didn't pass, but they gave him stuff, but they never gave him the actual
I thought they
clearance.
actually ended up granting him the clearance. I'll have to look that up.
I want to look that up.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. He has already sold them. Well, there's always more secrets. That's the problem with with government secrets is there's always more. you know,
Oh yeah.
it's a plentiful pile of information, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I just want to get back. So we did the breakdown. So I think it's safe to say that Trump is definitely having a bad day. And I'm just going to put my 2 cents on it and say,
Man, I'm calling it Feelings Fridays. This motherfucker's feeling them, boy.
telling you. And he ain't the only one. The MAGA people are furious. And what they don't like is when I tell them that Donald Trump is a rapist.
Well, they don't like his math because they
Well, that
can't
too.
count that Biden won. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Almost as much money as he's coughing up. He's
Y'all
coughing
taking them
up
L's,
83
boy.
million. Biden got
Hey,
81 million.
my man taking them L's. That's all I gotta say. Since 2020, he's been taking L's. That's all I can say to you.
Yeah, that just hit me.
Actually, his first take of L's was 2018. No, was it 2018 when he lost the? Did he lose the Senate? When did he start losing?
Yeah, he only had the House and the Senate for the first 2 years.
2016.
Yeah, the first 2 years. Then they took it from him.
So he's been taking L's since 2018. There it is. There it is.
Yes,
Woo.
sir.
Woo.
So anybody that's still planning on voting for this guy, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Hey, a lot can happen in 10 months, and there's a lot more L's you can take. So let's see.
But
Let's see what rock
you
bottom looks
just
like.
made the best argument for why this man can't be president is because if he owes all these people money that he rapes, where do you think he's going to get it from? Like Ian just said, he's going to sit there and sell everything he possibly can.
He's compromised, man.
He's extremely compromised.
He's going to be running to Iran talking about, I got secrets on our other allies over here.
Dude, you know what my conspiracy theory, my John F. Kennedy conspiracy theory is that Melania is his fucking handler.
Well, she ain't handling really well. This motherfucker won't shut
up. Well, Yeah, well,
Melania is 83 million.
but think about it. If
Uh,
if the whole intention is to destroy the fabric of our political system, if that is the goal, then actually Melania is
oh,
doing a
you
pretty
think she's
fucking
the
good
plant?
job.
You think she's the plant? She's the plant. She's the was it the Manchurian candidate?
Look,
She's the
man,
one setting him up.
there's a reason that they make movies about this kind of shit. It's because it does happen. So I mean, to sit there and just completely dismiss it, you know, I'm sitting here admitting it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not horribly far fetched.
It does it. It some things check out. I mean, he really. Well, I don't know her full background, um, but
Knows
I would
five
say,
languages. How
well,
many people you know that know five languages?
well, that's anybody in Europe because it's so
Is it?
close. It's everybody. You live in Germany, you speak Spanish, you're speaking English, you're speaking French, you're speaking German. That's everybody. Everybody over
Ooh,
there because they're just it's not the same type of restriction as here. We're just dumb Americans, okay? We just look like the Simpsons. That's let's not compete
that,
with what's going on in Europe. No, no.
that's fair.
That's
That's
you
fair.
jump on a train and travel so much easier
No,
over
I
there.
know, I know. Jen was stationed over there for like
Yeah.
eight of her 11 years overseas were around there, and she loved it because she'd go skiing. She's like,
I
you can
bet
just
you
hop
Jen's
on a
lying to
train.
you. She speaks about 7 different languages. Watch.
Probably, she's probably my handler.
Yeah.
She's gonna
That's
love
how I know you're
that.
married.
Yeah, she's gonna love that. All right, let's move on to our favorite Speaker of the House,
Yo.
dude.
This is so what's interesting right now, what's happening and what you're bringing up
Yep.
is that we're the Republicans are finally getting the conversation around the border. Okay, border protection, border deal, border funding, everything that they talk about with the immigrants and stopping this and literally protecting our borders. Well, Biden is like, I want to work with you on that. I think it's a great topic to actually work together and build something that is right for this country. So things are moving forward in that direction. They're talking about that money being tied to also Ukraine, fighting for democracy. It's not just we're fighting for somebody over there, we're fighting for the democracy of this world and what we're pitted against, right?
Yep.
So there's two birds, one stone. Well, here comes Trump needing motherfucking 83 million in his back pocket, and he tells Johnson and people on the Hill, other lawmakers, to not get in bed with Biden, and that he wants this to be a battle over the border where he can talk about it on the campaign trail for the 2024 election that's coming up in November.
Yep.
So he's telling everybody to not participate, to shut it down, to make it a bill that is dead on arrival, so he could take it over, so he can campaign on it. And then when he is president, he could then get it going because he only can see it in a narcissistic way that, of course, after he beats Biden, that he's going to have full house where he can do whatever he wants again.
Right.
And he thinks he's going to pass a bill and then he's going to champion that he stopped it.
Yep.
So all this is stemming from this fat fuck, Agent Orange, who has nothing to do with the government right now. But since he won 2 primaries, he thinks that he can literally flex on the Hill. And some of these people, which shows me how much of the Republican Party are cowards.
Yeah.
Weak, really weak men. I don't know so much about the women. Weak men.
Yep.
Who are literally being dog walked by this piece of shit who now owes $83 million. I'm sorry. I can't get that.
No, sounds
That's
good.
a big.
No, it sounds good. I know.
That's a big. Like, I wonder if they're thinking twice now that this motherfucker owes that kind of money today.
Right.
Because this was the conversation for the whole week. And it came out because of Mitch McConnell calling him out on the floor.
Right.
He was like, everybody needs to get in line on this. Do not waver because Trump wants you to. And people are like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So he actually aired out some grievances on the floor. You should watch it if you haven't seen it.
And I just
he
wanted
didn't
to
say it as blunt as I, but the way Mitch McConnell talks
right.
or
Yeah,
strokes out, whatever.
Yeah, he had to paint it right. And I just want to add in there, besides, Mike Johnson deciding not to move on this,
tail between his legs.
We also have Rep. Troy Nels, who literally we have on record saying that he doesn't want to hand Joe Biden a win going into this election season. Like they aren't doing what's best for Americans right now. They're doing what's best for the GOP and their agenda of trying to get Donald Trump back into office. That's what this is all about.
It's nothing, man. It's
I'm
all
not,
they literally have not moved anything forward for good or bad.
yeah.
Well, bad. Roe v. Wade. That's the only thing they've done. That's on
Well,
their record.
well,
That's their record.
and what I really love to point out is, they always like to. They were talking about George Bush W, and then they started talking about Biden, but they never talked about Obama, because the reality was Obama was deporting people left and right.
Yeah.
The numbers were pretty high.
Yeah.
And so if you go back and look at that, it's like, oh, so you mean that this border crisis that is being manufactured right now was a crisis back then, and the Democratic president was the one sending them back.
Yeah, he was.
So
Oh, yeah.
this isn't a new problem. Okay,
No.
this has been a problem before. What's new is that the GOP is using it as a weapon going into an election season.
Hasn't it
That's
been a
the fucking
problem
difference.
since 1619?
Well, it's only a problem come election year, and then after that, it's just a mild talking point. And then about 18 months out, when everybody starts declaring, they
Let
start
me say that one more time to you.
fucking
Hasn't
people.
that border issue been since 1619?
1619? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I heard 1916. I did. I heard
You're
1916.
dyslexic, motherfucker. You're
Dude,
dyslexic.
that you can tell on
I'm
my
just saying.
tweets sometimes, because
I'm
it's
just
like,
saying, man. The border has been open for a number of folks, and now some are choosing to pull that ladder up behind them. So it's been what it has been.
and I put a tweet out. People didn't like this one either, and I started talking about Ellis Island. I was like, man, what would have happened if your ancestors were treated the way when they came through Ellis Island that we're treating people coming up through the southern border? I was like, you motherfuckers wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I started saying, I'm like, do you know how many people that Ellis Island could process in one day? 5,000. Considering they had zero technology, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So then I got to start thinking to myself, I'm like, man, imagine instead of spending billions of dollars on a fucking wall that can be, cut through with a fucking sawzall and a 12-year-old, or you can climb over it in 2.5 minutes.
Or dig under it.
Instead of that, how about we take all that money and start building things like Ellis Island, these processing centers in all these locations, and fund the shit out of them, and make sure that they have all the employees that they need, so that instead of it taking years and months to process these people, it could take fucking days and hours. Now, if you want to stop illegal crossings, how about you fucking start there instead of this dumbass political bullshit?
All right. Because you're playing with people's lives. And
wasting money.
That twat on wheels, Abbott, he's killing people, man.
Yeah, he don't give a shit. Like, these people literally are celebrating the fact that kids are getting tied up in this razor wire. Again, these are the pro-life people.
Pro-lifers.
These are the pro-lifers.
It's so grotesque.
Like I said, we need to draw the line of humanity somewhere, right? Like,
well, they just need to find Jesus, man, because whatever they're toting is
that's the problem. They found Jesus, and they fucking started. Sorry, I'll stop.
Yeah. No, it's just whatever they're toting. It's not the right book. It's not the right Bible. So I don't know. I don't know what they're reading, but
misinterpreting it. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So speaking of interesting things, I wanted to talk about this Missouri state senator.
Oh man.
Who I'm just going to put it up on the screen so you people can see that this is a real thing. And I'm going to read it because I can actually read it. So Senator Schwerer of Missouri said, Rule 103: if a senator's honor is impugned by another senator to the point that it is beyond repair, and in order for the offended senator to gain satisfaction, such senator may rectify the perceived insult to the senator's honor by challenging the offending senator to a duel. The trusted representative, known as the second of the offended senator, shall send a written challenge to the offending senator. The two senators shall agree to the terms of the duel, including choice of weapon, which shall be witnessed and enforced by their respective seconds. The duel shall take place in the well of the Senate at the hour of high noon on the date agreed to by the parties to the duel.
Bro. 1776 called, man. They want their shit back.
That's what these people want. They want to bring back slavery. They want to bring back duels. They want to bring back all this shit, dude. Like, when they talk about Make America Great, they're talking about like fucking like 1818 Make America Great.
Man, I'm telling you right now, if I saw one of those that said, from here henceforth, we'll name it that you will be doing these roles for free, I'm like, this is slavery. They're like, no, I'm like, yes, this is fucking. No, we're not
Exactly
doing
what this is.
You, sir, have offended me. Duel. What? Get the fuck out of here, man.
Weapon
Is
of
this
choice.
is this because of that little fight that took place? Not fight, but that little skirmish that Sanders had to shut down and tell him, like, you were a congressman, sit down.
Who was that? Mark Wayne. Yeah, Mark Wayne.
With the union guy.
When he's like, we can go outside right now, and dude's
You
like,
know what I
let's
mean?
go.
Is this where that started? Is this where it stems from? Like, they're like, no, he should have been able to pistol whip him. What? What? Come on, man.
Oh my god.
You, sir, have offended. You know what? And they'd be upset with Crockett because she offends all of them. You already know,
dude. Every time
her tongue is a
I
knife.
post a
She will
video
cut
from
through
her,
them.
they lose their shit.
I'm
Like
telling you right now.
Of course, it's partially because she's a black woman or a woman in general. They just don't like women. But yeah.
Enough said.
Jasmine Crockett, we love you. Just keep doing you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
She's running for re-election, by the way. So if you haven't, or if you want to, you can go to her website. It's easy to find. Google her. She's running for re-election. Go give her a few bucks because I don't know about you, brother, but I think we need more Jasmine Crockett's in Congress and the Senate.
Oh, we just need Jasmine Crockett, but we definitely need her to get some backup. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, it was touching because we talked about it last week. Her mentor passed away, so that was really touching. But nice too to see that. I think because she was mentored in such a good way that she'll be hopefully a good mentor for people.
Oh, she'll definitely pass forward.
Yeah. Most people like that have been mentored good. They reach back and try to bring people with them too.
100%.
Yeah, they pay it forward. So. There's a lot of good reps up there right now. I know we talk about all the bad ones, but there's some good ones, and there's even a few good Republicans that aren't okay with what's going on up there. It sucks that most of them are retiring because they're tired of the bullshit instead of pushing back. But at the same time, I don't really blame them either. So.
I mean, this has to be tiring. This has to be really tiring that you go to work and you think like, okay, I'm going to get something done. I've always wanted to fight for the border. This is what we're going to get done. And then you get a phone call from Agent Orange telling you right off the bat, don't do it. Save it for me.
Yeah.
And it's this me mentality I don't understand that's helping anybody. Yeah. It's a collective of us. How do we move this country forward? And it's like, I understand that your ideology is less government as a Republican Party, but you're not conserving anything.
No, and honestly, they screech about small government while being the people that are using government to control people the most.
God, man.
Like trans people, women, the list is long.
A very simple fact is I will not wear a mask. You cannot tell me what to do with my body. And then at the same time, you have no choice. You have to have a kid.
Yeah,
that sums up the whole party.
And just for those that we have to explain this to, mask, child, in terms of responsibility. Just put that out there. and that's
I don't think your fan base is that inept. I think that's actually
you got to realize right now we have a lot of MAGAs trolling us, so it's not just my community. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's the MAGAs too. They're watching. Trust me.
Oh, the haters! That means you're doing something right.
Oh, dude, go look at my Twitter. I'm doing something really right. Like,
post this clip. Hi, haters. That's where we're at right now.
keep hating.
So good. Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year.
Oh gosh. I mean, see, we got one in here. We got one. He keeps posting the same thing a couple times. Spelled my name wrong. What are your thoughts on student loans? What are your thoughts on Israel? I mean, I'll tell you my thoughts on student loans. I'm glad he's doing it. You want to know why? Because when you have families that both people have college degrees and they both owe student loans and they're predatory loans with insane interest rates that freaking balloon up. So those people now have however much they were spending, which at least hundreds of dollars, I would assume, on student loans, they can now spend on something else. So now maybe they can go get that new car that their family's been needing. Maybe they can go buy that new house. Maybe they can afford some more groceries. The point is that this money is going to get spent most likely in their community. it's going to
it's quite
stimulate.
interesting right now, Ryan, with student loans, the argument, because I do see both sides of the coin on this one. One, somebody who didn't go to college and who's just been working since high school, and they're just putting in, just hustling, just working,
Yeah,
and they feel like, I didn't take out any loan, I didn't make that mistake, and why do I feel like my taxes need to pay for somebody who made a mistake?
yeah,
Fair. I get your point. I get your point. This is something that I find really interesting about a collective of all of us. And the thing about the other side is, well, I took out these loans. I was 18. I made this decision, and I could be guilty and tell you, I'm one who owes still a lot in student loans. But I have a great job and I'm paying it off. I did not have a great job just 7 years ago, and that was me just trying to get through and deferring and forbearance, and that's a whole nother game that is played on you.
yeah,
And it's just like, okay, you literally have to do what you have to make up the money to get what you need to pay off student loans. So then that pushes you back. You don't have a kid, you don't have a house, you don't have the new car. Now, luckily in New York, all you have to do really is just rent and do what you have to do here. But if I was in another city that I needed a car, which then I needed insurance, and then I needed, just in case shit happens, money,
mhm,
that's all things that have to go towards that situation for me to get
right,
to my job. And the thing that's interesting about it is that most people are not making enough money to uh, buy a house in today's standards, to have a kid, and then also to pay back student loans. So there's people who have been literally trying to chip away at this whole system
yeah,
and do the right thing, and they just can't. It's been 10 years that they've been paying their student loans. It's been 20 years they've been paying their student loans. And it's like, well, when's enough? Because all you're paying is interest.
right,
So then the reality is, okay, well, if I paid all these years and I've done all these things, you should be off the hook. Like, you're done. You did this. You got to the rabbit hole. I'm sorry. You literally did the rat race and you got to the end, and you're done.
right,
Let's call it what it is. You've paid. You're absolutely finished. The interesting thing, like in 2026, I'll be officially done, and I'm looking at it differently. Where I'm like, well, I can pay extra and just wipe it out, and it's a thing for me that I've been watching Biden, who's been, in my mind, saving people, because during the height of the pandemic and they stopped student loan payments, they said that the country will crash and that there'll be all this insane with
yeah.
inflation and
Fear
everything.
mongering.
A lot of fear mongering, but they were really attacking the inflation. And here's the thing: the student loan repayment pause did nothing to our economy. It was the profits that were being made by greedy corporations. 53% of the profit gross that was coming from them is what raised inflation. So greedy corporations, not
Absolutely,
students.
yes,
And so the fact that we put a lot of the pressure on somebody who's just getting in the industry, because keep that in mind, they're just getting out and now they have to take on the world, and now you're expecting them to, pay the bill,
yeah,
which I agree they have to at some point. But for you to say that pause off of somebody who's brand new, 19, 20, 21, getting into the industry, knows nothing, you need to have experience, but yet you need to have an internship, but yet you need to have, it's just a rat race, man.
yeah. Well, we've created this atmosphere, or we've created a society where you have to have a degree. Well, I
Not
don't want
anymore.
to.
There's a
Yeah, I
lot of
don't
talk
want to.
about it.
That's why I'm pausing. So I'm like, well, not anymore. But when we were growing up,
Yes.
it was very
Yes.
stressed to us that you needed a college degree to be
Higher
successful.
education.
Higher
Absolutely.
education. And it was like, so everybody felt pressured to go to school, whether it was a
Right.
community college or a university. And because of that pressure, it's like, okay, I got to make this happen. So I want to take out loans, to do what I got to do. Like you said, you're 20 years old, 21 years old, trying to get shit, figured out. And you're not thinking about in 10 years and 15 years when you're having to pay all this back.
Yeah.
And a couple of points you made, you said one, oh, well, I never went to school, I shouldn't have to pay with my tax dollars. My question to that is, well, how many other things do you think that your tax dollars are used for that you don't partake in or anything? Our tax dollars are used across the board for all sorts of things, and we don't agree with everything that our tax dollars are
Which
used
is
for.
mostly from my conservative friends. That's how
Oh,
they view it.
absolutely.
That's their
And
argument.
and then Peggy, I like this one, but what about all the PPP loans that were forgiven? I didn't see a lot of conservatives up in
Oh
arms saying
no,
that
no,
was going to destroy our economy.
that's what's so rich about it. That's again the hypocrisy where it is. You know, my body, my choice for a mask, but not for
Yeah,
a woman and not an abortion.
yeah,
So it's the PPP, which your girl Marge. she's a perfect example. She took out
Yes.
hundreds of thousands in
Yeah.
PPP,
Yep.
and then it was wiped out. But she's the loudest one on the mic talking about
And
these
never
kids
answers
need to
that in the
pay their
comments.
loans.
Like, hey, what about your loans that were forgiven? It's like
Yeah.
crickets. Hey, Jay, thanks for tuning in for the first time. Appreciate you stopping in.
Welcome.
Yeah, man. Um, okay, so are we good on that? Can we move on from that?
Fast. I don't need Navient calling me. Yes, move, motherfucker. Let's go. Oh,
Okay.
you want a show? Let's talk about your loans.
Yeah, yeah, right. So let's move on to the UN.
Oh,
So turns out that the UN has fired 12 aid workers. Um, Israel accused the UN RWA workers in Gaza of helping to plan and participate in the attack on October 7th that left 1,400 Israelis dead or captured.
so this is where we get interesting. This is let's break a couple things down. I know somebody in the comments said let's talk about Israel.
Yeah, let's
We
talk
will
about
touch
it.
on it.
Yep.
So a couple things happened today which I find to be very telling. The ICJ, the UN's pretty much court, found that a very neutral stance that was Israel is not creating genocide, and they will not have an actual ruling on that for years. So don't hold your breath. The interim decision right now is do not overstep the boundaries of creating a havoc, terrible situation from what's happening right now. So if you are going to continue, because they didn't say to stop, they didn't say to ceasefire. They said, continue your war, but you need to really keep in consideration human life.
Yes.
So that's Israel. No genocide. Continue firing away. For the Palestinians, they're saying there are things there that we need from you, being that this is what South Africa's articles of genocide. Um, there's no aid, there's nothing happening here, and that you're not giving them a fighting chance, being the civilians. Keep in mind, the people who are suffering the most of this entire thing are the Palestinian people who are not fighting a war, and the Israeli people who are not a part of Netanyahu's government. I stand solidly with the people on both sides of this because they're the ones getting fucked
Yeah.
by these two raging assholes who just want to have all out war.
Yep.
So the ICJ, no genocide as of yet, and we won't know for years. Aid has to be made available for the people of Palestine. And they also said that all hostages need to be released and given back to Israel. This is now, there's no authority coming from the ICJ. This is just them pretty much playing referee and saying, all right, look, you're both in timeout. You both did this and this. This is what we need to do. And then we can have another conversation.
Yeah.
But we will be looking at all the evidence. And in a couple of years, we'll let you know what we come up with.
Yeah.
Great. Israel has been saying for the longest that people within the UN, which is the UNRWA, are Hamas. When you're looking at the situation, you have to understand a couple of things. The mayor is Hamas. The cop is Hamas. The doctor is Hamas, because Hamas has been running a majority of the Gaza Strip infrastructure. They came into power in 2007, and they've had wars with Israel throughout this entire time. They're still throwing bombs, even though everybody's screaming ceasefire. They're the ones still shooting rockets at Israel, so it's not just one-sided. And the thing that I find very interesting about this is that America put a halt on payments to the UN for the UN RWA, and within a matter of a couple weeks, they found these 12 individuals that they are ready to give up. This has been claimed since October 7th that there's elements of this.
Right.
People on the ground in Gaza are talking about how the UNRA have been giving resources, supplies, food, all these things to Hamas when these trucks come in. So everything's coming out, and the reality is the people are still suffering the most. With all these tunnels that were built, They even said the UN will take care of the people. Hamas's focus is only on itself and its war against Israel. And so, with all these tunnels and all these miles built under Gaza Strip, they will not let them in there, which has become an issue as well, because Israel's going complete bonkers, talking about they want to flood it with the sea. Like, everybody just needs to take a step back. There's been some really amazing articles that have come out talking about because Israel's not had time to process October 7th, that the world has completely overlooked it by the devastation of Gaza. And you and I have had a conversation, Ryan, regarding um, the military. You mentioned the word before, proportion.
Yeah, proportional military response. Yeah.
And I found it very interesting what the definition of that was, because I started looking in more into of what you were saying. It wasn't so much of like, okay, you killed one of mine, I killed 10 of yours. The proportion is off.
Right.
It was more so looking at the structural um, damage that you will create for years to come. And I thought that was so interesting because the situation here, which is unraveling more and more, is how many places have been created as a war crime from Hamas, be that a mosque, a school, a hospital, someone's home. The fact that the hostages have not been released at this point is because they've been held in people's homes. Um, the UN RWA's members' homes,
Mhm.
and doctors' homes, and then they've been just shifted around. Some of these patrons have been hostages have been released, and they've told their story to the most part that they can. The rape victims that have addressed some of it, and there's talks of some of the hostages that still stand. They're afraid of what is going to be said from them, and that's what the pause is. Now, what I find interesting is that when the ICJ released its news today, that this news then came out because there's a lot more that's unraveling. And you and I have talked about this. I don't want to be the first to break news on this because you have to really see whose propaganda is coming out,
Yeah.
and that's
And
the
what if
race
I'm
that's happening.
wrong? Yeah. And that's actually a great transition into one of our last topics.
Well,
Yeah,
did you have anything you wanted to add to this conversation?
all I'm going to add is what I've been saying. You know, you and I can have our conversations about this, offline, but, at the end of the day, I really just feel bad, like you said earlier in this show. I feel bad for everybody on both sides that are just caught in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
Um, of course, Israel had a right to respond to a terrorist attack, just like we had the right to respond after
Right.
September 11th. Um,
And that's what the ICJ is stating. They have the
right.
right to defend themselves.
And I've said that from day one.
Yeah.
So, and the rest of it, is up for, discussion as much as we can. And hopefully we can have,
Well, the
meaning.
IDF does have to take life in
Well,
consideration.
I'm just
Like,
talking, yeah, but I'm just talking about us, like,
yeah, yeah,
I hope, we can all have some good faith conversations on this as it progresses, because it's not over. And, you know, I feel for all the hostages and of course, the women that were abused and raped. And, there's just so many nuances in all of this. And all I can think about is all the innocent people.
yeah.
All the people getting screwed over, all the people getting hurt for no reason, all the people, losing their property, losing their homes, losing everything they have. It's just, yeah, it's a horrible situation for everybody involved. And it's a weird situation for us as Americans to be in. Because of course we can help, with funding and things like that. Um, but of course we have our own issues that we have to take care of too.
Right.
So, yeah, it's one of those topics right now that I think will continue to be a hot button issue. Um, Everybody seems to be. I think what I want to see is more of what we're talking about.
Right.
We're not talking about the extremism one way or the other. We're talking about, the real people in this. The ideology is great, but we have to look at facts, reality.
Right.
There are a lot of innocent people that are in the middle of this. That those are the folks that I feel for.
And
Um,
it's interesting because I actually wanted to add this to it, was that the UN RWA was created in 1949, a year after Israel's creation, statehood, and when I say that to you, is it was created to help assist with the people who were displaced during this original creation.
Right.
Um, it's an open checkbook to those patrons and their families, and we have to do the math on how much has changed, but those people clearly have multiplied. You know, people had families, they did their thing, but this open checkbook is still paying people to this day. And so it's interesting that Trump actually shut down payments to this organization to assist, and then Biden kicked it back open back in 2021. Which now with this halt, they're going to pause and they're going to reassess a number of things and
Yeah.
look at how they are contributing. But we're talking about billions of dollars that have been going into this. Since inception. And so it's going to be really quite interesting to see when they start looking at the receipts, what is this actually going to? What is
Yeah.
this actually funding? You know,
Yeah. And did we inadvertently fund terrorist organization?
I mean, that's that Netanyahu was funding a terrorist organization. You know, don't get me wrong. Everybody was funding because there is good faith there. You know, when you think about it, Hamas was the government. So at the same time, you're like, yes, these places
You're
do need to have
negotiating with the
all these
government.
operations. You know, to run a country.
Right.
So yes, but at the same time, when you're taking that, and they're actually trying to do the math of how much these tunnels really cost, because it's up there in the numbers. It is
Oh, I
up there.
bet.
So it's really, again, I don't want to be the first to break news on any of this. I'd rather take my time and really see what's happening there.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't get into the conversations of people's ideology of who was there first and this and that. It's all bullshit. That's been going on 5,000 years.
Yeah.
I'm
Centuries.
not getting into it. You know, the conversation doesn't start since 1948. It's been going on forever. So
Yep.
I'm not even interested.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just I'll keep praying for everybody over there because it's just a shit situation.
Yeah.
You know what? My fear is that all this crap is going to somehow find a way to all come together. You know what I mean? It's like we got Ukraine and Russia, and
So World War III.
you know, I hate throwing around Civil War and World War III, but fuck, man, just what
Well, when you look at the
concerns.
heavy hitters that are a part of this, Iran, Russia, America, and this is proxy wars that are taking place, and you see that one wrong move, we can get tripped up into it.
And
Yeah.
shit's blowing up in China too.
Yeah. I mean, as we've been speaking, Yemen just attacked a flagship. So it's, you know, it's one of those things that, you know,
Yeah, it's a really unstable time, not just in America but worldwide,
right,
and that's what concerns me. I think is the big picture. You
right.
know,
But I
that
did say to you last, I believe it was last show or a couple shows ago, that you know Joe Biden is a beast behind a closed door. I don't care about him in front of a camera. I
oh
don't care about him reading a prompter. When he's across the table from you and he's negotiating, he gets shit done. And I can only imagine what he's saying to a number of folks on this one to shut this down.
and I appreciate you saying that. Because I feel the same. You know,
His
one of the things I keep
experience
telling
is really showing right now.
it is. You know, and this is when the world and our country is this unstable, we want stable people that are able to to make deals and get things done. And Donald Trump has proven once
Not a
again,
motherfucker that owes $83 million.
and gets up and storms out of a courtroom because he knows he's fucked. You
I
know,
saw Hunter do it.
yeah.
I thought I'm doing
So
it. Come on, come
Joe
on.
Biden. What I like to also point out going into this election season is you're not just voting for Joe Biden. You know, when you're voting for an incumbent, you're also voting for their administration.
Yeah.
You're voting for all those people's jobs. And if you think that the administration as a whole has been doing a good job, then don't let a couple of stupid things stand in the way of you voting for those people to continue doing a good job.
And keep this in mind. Netanyahu is the fucking Trump of Israel.
Yeah,
Keep that in mind. Like
yeah,
that's the government that's running things right now. That's like fucking shit up. And the outrage that's taking place in Israel right now is everybody's now open letter demanding he resign. But also the fact that Israel is and has prosecuted past prime ministers. and elected officials. They are known to do that. As a democracy, they are known to do it. And I'm waiting to see what happens here in America, because us to be the shining light, to be really the police of the world, if we can't hold somebody accountable and really, who are we to then pass any judgment on anybody across the globe?
Dude, that is.
So we have to really look at what this year looks like for us.
Yeah.
And it's not just voting for Biden and his administration.
No.
You're voting for this experiment. This shit is an experiment, man.
Yep. No, that.
How long do we want to keep this going?
I love the way you said that. Yeah. I mean, we need to get our own shit straight if we're going to try policing the world. Okay, so we got 15 minutes. We're gonna go through these. I don't want to spend too long on Como, but we are gonna. No, fuck that, because it's important. Because number one, because he's a fucking Democrat, and
okay, you know what? Yes,
and it's
jump into this.
Yeah, because it's important. I think I'm not a freaking hypocrite, and if a Democrat does this shit, hold him accountable.
We're calling strikes, man. We're calling strikes.
Exactly. I don't. So for those wondering what the hell I'm talking about. It came out today that Como created a sexually hostile workplace. The Justice Department came out and said investigators found that the executive staff, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, prioritized protecting him rather than the women accusing him, which we all kind of knew that was going on at the time. His brother got fired from CNN for kind of the same thing.
Trying to help coach the situation.
Yeah, probably a little worse. Yeah, but we knew that people were more interested in protecting him in his governorship than they were the women coming forward.
So this is interesting about Cuomo, because you got to keep in mind that this was coming out of him being the shining light during the height of the pandemic. Okay, he was the voice of reason. He was getting more coverage of how to maneuver and build a roadmap during the unknown that was COVID. And I remember a lot of nights here in New York where you would go off of what he was saying. You would even give a fuck about drink bleach and UV lights from the president. It was literally what he was talking about and how to mitigate a lot of the spread.
Yeah.
So he was getting a lot of coverage. So he really shot up as not only as a governor, but across.
There was talk that he could be a presidential candidate.
Major talk. Now, keep in mind, he is a generational leader. His father was a governor.
Yep.
So we're talking about creating a dynasty. This is why I think America should not have dynasties, because he grew up with a silver spoon. He grew up as a kid in the mansion, the governor's mansion, and my man, this is where absolute power corrupts absolutely. He created bills, passing laws here in New York about sexual harassment in workplaces, while he's fucking gaslighting and projecting onto everybody, because here he is doing the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, kingmaker, since you're over here thinking that you can do this, the fact that you were taken down and then replaced with the very first female governor of New York.
Yep.
Catherine Hochul. And it's like, that just shows you how behind we are. New York being such a forward state, I wouldn't say it technically is, because it's only New York City that we outvote everybody else. The weight of it all is here in the city. But Albuquerque, is it Albuquerque? Albuquerque is 4.5 hours north.
Yeah, it's close to Canada.
Albany is ours.
Yes.
It is about 4.5 hours north. So it's in the boonies.
Yeah.
It's up there. But the point is, first female governor out of all this. So I just find it to be like the best karma ever.
Yeah. No, has she done a good job?
She's doing okay.
Yeah, I honestly haven't.
She's doing okay. She's no big Gretch, I'll tell you that.
It's fair.
But I'm biased. I love Michigan.
Yeah, I know. So we're gonna talk a little. But before we do, I wanted to talk about AI a little bit. And so, and you sent me one of these. So George. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him too. But no, George Carlin's estate is suing over a fake AI comedy special. They're suing the creators. And then also today, Taylor Swift is said to be considering legal action against a deepfake website that generated explicit AI images of her, which circulated online.
Also, for the New Hampshire primary, there was an AI call of Biden's voice
Yes,
talking about
you're
voting.
right. Oh, I
And that
forgot
was the
about that.
very first AI caller, robocaller, that has now taken place in an election. So here we are, folks.
Yeah.
Skynet.
It's funny because I put out, I go, AI is going to be a problem until we get it under control. And somebody tweeted underneath, he's like, what do you mean get it under control? Have you not seen Terminator? We're
Bro,
fucked.
I'm with Sarah Connor. Okay, I don't know about you. I'm with
I'm
Sarah
telling you,
Connor.
these doomsday preppers are starting to look like they had the right idea.
Where is your bunker? Is all I got to say.
I'm telling you. But no, AI is clearly going to be an issue in the coming years, probably decades. Um,
Here's okay. So this is the negative side of it, right? Where you're looking at it, and
there's
it's.
definitely positives. Definitely
I'll give
positive.
you a great positive about AI. James Earl Jones has signed a contract with Disney for his voice to be indefinitely used to play the role of Darth Vader.
Nice.
So his estate will get a check for the rest of his lineage.
And he already gets a check for Lion King.
He gets a check for everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, his residuals are of all the past movies. We're talking about long when he's dead.
Yeah.
He will still be credited as the voice actor of.
Yep.
Because he's put himself in a box where no one's going to recreate that. I'm sorry. There's
No.
no recasting Vader. So
No.
that's a positive side of AI, to use that technology.
Yeah.
The terrible side of it is this robocall of Biden saying whatever he said on this call about not showing up or don't worry about being, because the thing about New Hampshire is that anybody could vote. It could be Republican, Independent, Democrat who could show up to their primary and they could vote for, and they did. A lot of independents and Democrats showed up to vote for Nikki Haley, and it was just Trump has his lock, stock, smoke and barrel with the Republican Party. They're in bed with him. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
They are in bed. I'm not ruling her out, because the thing that's interesting about Nikki Haley right now is that she is generating a lot of money. A
Sure.
lot of money. And usually when people don't see a roadmap, the money dries up real fast.
Yeah.
She's generating a lot of money. But these robocalls, this AI, it's only going to get uglier.
It is, and clearly AI is going to be an issue for this election, not
Yeah.
just elections down the road. I have many issues with Nikki Haley, but of course, if you gave me the choice between Trump and Nikki Haley, I'm picking Nikki Haley every time.
Well, all you would be doing is picking your competitor, because you're like, okay, I want Nikki Haley to go against Biden.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
And that was the campaign.
I have several videos that I've done of her over the last couple of weeks of, oh, America is not a racist country. And then the next day she's like, oh, my family were the only Indian people and we experienced racism for years. Bitch, pick a side. Like you're literally saying different shit within days. Hell,
you got to look at her party. She has to play to her primary party before she gets a general election.
Well, okay, but
she's playing her party.
You're playing to Republicans. You're not playing to.
That's
to
the primary.
No, that's fine. But like you said, a lot of independents and Democrats showed up and voted for her. So right. It wasn't. People are literally voting against Donald Trump. They're not voting 100%. For Nikki Haley.
Right. 100%.
100%. And I'll tell you this. You want to know why I think Nikki Haley's smart as shit? Because she's the only person who's stuck in the race to wait and see if Trump goes to fucking jail. Because if Trump somehow gets ruled out of Trump somehow gets ruled out of this election, she's going to be the only one left.
But they still can choose whoever they want.
Yeah, they could write in and do it.
They could do Mike Johnson. Johnson, is it Mike Johnson? Mike Johnson.
Yeah, that's true. No, yeah,
they could always they could literally write in whoever they want. But
yeah,
you're right when you're looking at her having the popular vote amongst Republicans.
Right.
Why would they not? Except if they wanted to show their true bias.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yep. They could do
that. But if
she
she wins a Republican vote, that shatters CRT. DEI, is it DEI? Diversity,
equality, and inclusion. Or is it equity?
Equity.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of those two. But bottom line is they don't like diversity.
No.
Like, I don't care what you fucking call it. They don't like inclusion. They don't like diversity. They don't like
equity. Would go by her first name.
Yeah, Nimrata. But at the end of the day, there's a reason that these things had to be put in place.
Right.
And it's because there are racist motherfuckers out there that will never give an opportunity to a person of color, ever. And they're bitching because they want the freedom to be able to look them in the face and
Right.
tell them, fuck you, no. Even if you're more qualified, fuck you, no. That's what they're mad about. They're mad that that freedom is being taken from them, that the freedom to look at black people, Indian people, freaking every color in the book that's not white. They want to be able to freaking discriminate against those people. That's why those things had to be put in place. And guess what? That hasn't changed. Just like Nimrata said, America's been a racist country since she grew up. Okay? It's been around for a long, long time.
She
It's
said it wasn't a racist country.
No, and then she turned around and said that her family was harassed every day, and it was a racist country. That's what I said.
I can't keep up with her
that dude.
her flip-flopping.
I got a video of her literally within 15 seconds contradicting herself in the same fucking video. It was like, did you really just say that?
Yeah, the mental Olympics that they literally have to spew.
Yeah, and then they like to tell us we're, us liberals are stupid and we don't understand. Like, oh no, we understand. We just know how to read.
This is what. But that's AI and that's Nikki Haley.
Exactly. So with that, I want to let's talk about our positive thing. For those that maybe you're new to the show, we try to end the show on something a little positive, since we tend to talk about politics and it tends to get a little whatever. We just want to end the show on something more positive every time. So what do you got this week, brother?
What's on your head?
Oh,
Detroit Lions, baby!
Oh, dude,
I'm so hyped. I am so hyped.
I'm
being subtle with my colors.
I
got the grays, I got the whites, I got the blues. I'm like, okay, I'm repping my team. I will wear the gear on Sunday.
Bro, I'm gonna have my Barry jersey on, my hat. I told the wife, I said I'm not to be disturbed Sunday.
Man.
Yeah,
for all the viewers who don't know, we are both from Detroit.
Yes,
you live in.
I live in Arizona now.
Yep. And I live in New York.
Yep.
And we are Detroit until we die.
Yep, always. We've been.
There's no way around it.
I used to watch
around to see the worst of Detroit, and we are now seeing this beautiful renaissance of Detroit. And we're sitting here on the sidelines. All we can do is just root.
We've been waiting. We've been
waiting.
Talking
about when we say our home team, I mean the whole city.
Yeah.
We are rooting for our city.
I don't think you all understand. So if the Super Bowl is in Nevada, so Nevada is about 6 hours from me. I could get there about 6-7 hours. But if they win on Sunday, I'm going home to Detroit because I want to know
where the party is.
Dude, not just that, I want to be with my fucking people. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
I want to be around.
It's something there, man.
I want to be where we grew up. I want to be there if there's a fucking parade. I just want to be there to celebrate this team. Finally, fucking after decades.
Well, let me ask you: Is it
30
celebrating
years, bro.
this weekend, or is it celebrating in February?
Well, if
the Super Bowl is February 11th.
Well, no, if they win this game, then I'm going home.
So you're going home if they beat San Francisco,
yeah,
and they become contenders in the Super Bowl.
I mean, they're going to the Super Bowl. If they win Sunday, they're going to the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you want to celebrate.
Yep. I'll go home because the Super Bowl, win, lose, or draw, we get to watch our team play in the Super Bowl. And I never thought I'd get to see that.
What's interesting about that is that I stand with Dan Campbell, where he's like, this game is just one other game. He goes, I'm not celebrating anything until it's all over.
But that's the attitude the team should have. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us to hype them up. Like, it's up to us to be out here like, fuck, these guys are doing it. Like,
it is something special to watch. But I already see that they're
locked in.
Fighting for something else. And I love what they're bringing to the table. So that's my positive right now. I'm with Detroit all day. Never stopped.
And the best positive of it going into it, though, is that this is a young team. You know, it's not like Matt Stafford and Megatron, you know, are long in the tooth and they've got one shot. Like, this is a young team and they're plowing through. Now imagine they're just going to add more pieces to the puzzle. And more importantly, when you're talking about free agency, when you have a team that's actually a playoff contender, you tend to get better players come free agency time.
They really want to come for you.
Exactly. But see, so there's going to be some benefits.
I've always loved my Pistons, where it was the Wallaces.
And they're struggling, aren't they?
When it was a group of no names fighting LA's top notch. You know, you saw the
Like in
grit
Kobe, they beat Kobe.
and Shaq
Yep.
and Malone. They had the whole dream team.
And Gary Payton.
Gary Payton. But
Yep.
you looked at our team: Tayshaun Prince,
Ben Wallace,
Billups, Hamilton,
Billups,
and both Wallaces.
uh, uh,
Who else am I missing?
Tayshaun Prince. Did we say him?
Yep. Billups,
Flip Hamilton.
Flip.
Rasheed Wallace.
Yep, both Wallaces
Big Ben.
and Rasheed.
That's all I can remember from that team.
That's the top.
That's
top
the
five.
start. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
starters.
6 man. Oh, 6 man was oh, it's gonna kill me. Hamilton.
No, Rip wasn't.
No.
Was he?
Who was? Oh God, it's gonna. You know what? I'll be here all day.
I know.
Anyways, point is,
We talk about. We could spend a whole hour
names.
talking about this.
It was the no names that did their thing.
It was a team that was definitely not expected to take out
It was a team.
Kobe Bryant and the super team.
It was a team that was playing as a team, plain and simple. That's what I see with the Lions.
And
This
it's
is
fun.
a team that is literally in the gutter, and they are fighting what feels like the working class.
Yep. Well, and if I'm a huge Kobe fan, and I always liked that. He said that was why they lost that he didn't prep the team well enough to work on automatics and work as a team, and he felt that was the reason they got beat. And it was funny because I loved the interview that him and Shaq did, and they're talking about that, and he's like, and Kobe goes like, you and Ben Wallace, and Shaq's like, I know, right? Like that should be barbecue chicken. he's like, but
So
it's
good.
just
So I'm excited to see what happens this
Rest
Sunday.
in peace.
That's all
Kobe.
I gotta say.
Yeah. Let's see what was positive for me. I got to go out today, so we took the kids to a Van Gogh experience that they have here in
exhibit,
Tucson.
the Van Gogh experience?
Yeah.
Exhibit?
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, man. So, I'm actually my mom used to take me down to the Detroit Institute of Arts. That used to be one of our things we would do. So I'm actually huge into this kind of stuff. And, but we want to take the kids because my daughter's actually really getting into art and drawing and stuff like that. So it was really nice because Dominic wasn't, he didn't really enjoy it. But to see her face, Livy was just like, oh my gosh, look at that. And, and she was like really noting, how he used a lot of lines to draw things, and she's like, just seeing how she was paying attention. But I actually got a quick clip to show just how awesome this is. Because if you ever have a chance, I don't know if this is something that travels. I think it's stationary here.
It travels. It was in New York.
Does it?
Yeah.
If you guys ever have a chance to go do this, I definitely suggest it. It was just a really cool experience. Even if you don't have kids, I think if you're just an enjoyer of art, and especially Van Gogh, it tells his whole story. It shows all of his paintings. He had 900 paintings and 1,100 drawings by the time he died. He was only 37. Mm-hmm. He only sold one piece of art while he was alive. He was not famous at all or well known. It was after he died. 1
year at the end of it all.
Yeah, and it said at one point, because most of his art was done in the last 10 years of his life, he said, and at one point he was pumping out a new piece of art every 38 hours.
Wow.
I was like, that's crazy. So, but here's just a quick video for you guys to see what it looked like. So if you ever get a chance, the Van Gogh exhibit, I definitely suggest it. So yeah, that was my little positive.
Oh man. What's interesting is that I brought my wife to Detroit and I showed her DIA, and I was like, this is where I grew up going all the time. I go, we love this place, and here in New York, it's it's just on a dialed up to
it's a whole different level. Yeah.
It's just busy though. Like just tons of people everywhere. You only get like 10 minutes in front of this, and there's 15 million people in front of you to look at anything.
And the DIA is not like that. Like
not like that at all. And so her experience there was that she's looking at all this stuff, and I'm watching her look at all the art, and I just catch her, and she has this kind of look like just bewildered, but at the same time, like dumbfounded. And she's staring and she goes, "Is that Starry Night? Like Van Gogh? Is that it?" And I go, "Yeah." And she
Yeah.
goes, "Is that like really it?" I go, "As opposed to
The fake one?
fake? Like what do you mean? Is it like girl?" And she goes, "I'm just there's only four people standing there looking at it and there's no barrier. Like it's just there."
You can touch it.
And I go, "Yeah, because you get your ass beat here in Detroit. Like you touch
Yeah,
some art."
we don't mess
But
around.
she sat there and she was just amazed because she's never seen it.
I think the first time I stood in front of it, I probably stood there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just it's different. It's different seeing it. Like I have a fake, you know, I have one of the fake, you know, ones like just on a canvas kind of
Yeah.
thing. I
But
have
to see
that,
the paint,
but to see the paint,
the
the way it
rivets,
was,
everything about it,
dude,
it's amazing.
the texture of it, you know,
Right.
just you can literally sit there and look at each piece. You could almost break it into pieces and
So
look at,
many sections to it. Yeah.
and it's like as soon as you think that you've seen all the painting, you see something else, and you can't do that in the reproductions. It's
No.
just, you know,
No.
it's
And if you
some
stare at it long enough, that thing starts moving on you, and you just start. You're
just like the dang movie I just showed you.
like,
Yeah. All right. But look, so we're gonna end the show there. I just wanted to thank everybody for hanging out with us on another Friday night. I know this is the highlight of my weeks, getting to hang out with Ian and you guys. So thank you as always for supporting us. And before I sign off, you got anything, brother?
yeah, man. Just 83 million reasons to shut the fuck up. Have a great weekend.
And with that, I'll leave you as I always do with much love and keep fighting.